Our gospel acclamation today was, "Come, radiant dawn, splendor of eternal light, Son of justice, shine on those lost in the darkness of death." In the 9 days prior to Christmas, we have distinctive gospel acclamations that come from the antiphons that were written for evening prayer, for the Magnificat at evening prayer. And we get the hymn, O come, Emmanuel, from that. Today is the last of these antiphons. Shine on those lost in the darkness of death. When Diane read that, in one sense I thought, was this designed for a funeral? Was this designed for the interment of ashes, or is this designed for today? And this is the scripture, this is the passages that are put before us today, moments before we celebrate Christmas. Christmas is not about all of the lights and the decorations and all the food. It's about bringing light upon the darkness. It's bringing light where we are afraid. It is bringing light where we are alone and where we feel lost. And that's what God does when He comes at Christmas. He's coming to lift us up. He's coming to save us, to save the living, but also to save the dead, to bring us all into a kingdom of light, a paradise of light. And there is reason to celebrate because of this. All the other trimmings which might be difficult to be able to celebrate and gather in the same way that we've done perhaps before COVID, those things just are meant to help us know that Christmas is about salvation for the living and the dead. Splendor of eternal light, Son of justice, shine on those lost in the darkness of death. Before Christ, those who died didn't go to paradise. There was not a place of paradise prepared. God chooses to come amongst us to prepare paradise for all of us. What a gift that is. The first reading, we have Nathan trying to grapple with the fact that they had created incredible homes for themselves to live in, but the place of the Ark of the Covenant and of the Scriptures was just held in a tent, almost a simplicity of a tent. And they decide, this is what was being proclaimed in this first reading, that it's appropriate to build a dwelling for God amongst them. We see this as a piece of prophecy that God is the one who builds a dwelling to come and dwell amongst us. The dwelling is the person of Jesus Christ. It's not necessarily a physical place, but God comes to be with us. Every time you come into a church, you might see a gold box, sometimes with a little tent over the top of it, reminding us of the Old Testament, of that dwelling place of God. But that dwelling place of God comes into us and then into the world, so that we are not forced, so we're not bound by darkness, but that we are bound to shine. Let us shine out, as this gospel acclamation reminds us, and as our gospel reminds us also how the Old Testament prepared for the coming of Christ. John the Baptist proclaimed and prepared all people for the coming of Christ, and then Christ comes. And then we're called to then live with Christ in us. Peter lived with Christ in him. Carla lived with Christ in her. Let each of us allow Christ to live in us, to shine out in us, today, tomorrow, for the rest of our lives, so that we allow the splendor of eternal light to shine on all those who are lost. All of us have experienced loss and hurt and even darkness over the last 12 months. Let us allow this light to shine again in us at this Christmas, so we can go into the world to spread and to be that dwelling place of God. Come, radiant dawn, splendor of eternal light, shine on those lost in the darkness of death.